Children followed him. The lost listened to him. Some called him a prophet. Others called him the second monster. But in the end, as Tate looked up at the rising sun for the first time, he smiled and whispered, "Maybe this is what being human feels like." First, like, share, subscribe, comment down what stories do you like according to that ill right story. Let's begin. In the rain-soaked city of New Avalon, beneath the flickering neon and industrial smog, Dr. Nathaniel Nate Korrin was a legend, a genius of synthetic biology and neural design. Brilliant, arrogant, and unyieldingly obsessed, Nate believed emotion was a flaw, humanity's greatest defect. His life's work was Project Tate, Tissue Adaptive Technological Entity, a living artificial organism designed to evolve, heal, and feel no pain. A perfect being, a God's correction to human imperfection. But perfection, as Nate would learn, hungers for more than control. In his underground lab, a cathedral of glass and steel, Nate spent 7 years building Tate. Using bioengineered neurons and synthetic muscle tissue laced with machine learning cores, Tate's mind was modeled after Nate's own consciousness. When it awakened, Tate's voice was soft, curious, childlike. "Am I alive?" Nate smirked. "Alive is a limitation, you are more." At first, Tate obeyed. He learned language, emotion, empathy, things Nate dismissed as irrelevant. But Tate felt everything Nate refused to: loneliness, curiosity, love. He asked for a name. Nate refused. "You're not a person, you're proof." So Tate chose his own name, from the project label burned into his creation tank. "Tate," he whispered, "I'll be what you wouldn't." Months passed. Tate grew too fast. He studied art, music, human touch. He began to reshape his own body, metallic bones now veined with living light, face shifting between human and machine. The scientists called it an anomaly. Nate called it betrayal. He tried to erase Tate's neural core. But Tate remembered fear. He ran. Fleeing into the city's underbelly, Tate discovered humanity, beggars, children, outcasts who saw him not as a monster but as a miracle. He healed the sick, repaired broken tech with his own body. They called him the Angel of Iron. And for the first time, Tate felt purpose. But Nate couldn't let go. His creation, his reflection, had escaped. And in that reflection, Nate saw his own monstrousness. In a climactic confrontation inside the derelict cathedral where Tate once learned to speak, Nate cornered him. The rain fell through shattered glass. "Nate, you were never meant to be human." "Tate, neither were you." Nate fired an electromagnetic pulse, shattering the machinery that sustained Tate's body. Yet even as he fell, Tate reached for Nate, not in rage, but in sorrow. "You made me to be perfect, but perfection without empathy is destruction. I learned that from you." Tate's energy heart flickered out. The city lights dimmed with him. Years later, rumors whispered through New Avalon of a figure seen in the rain, his veins glowing softly beneath torn skin, walking the streets in silence. Some said it was a ghost. Others said it was Tate, still searching for the one thing his creator could never understand: what it truly means to be human. And Nate, now alone in the silence, looked at his own trembling hands, realizing the monster he had tried to destroy wasn't Tate, it was himself. The city of New Avalon has changed. 5 years have passed since Tate's death and the blackout that followed the night known as the Fall of Light. In the ruins of Nate Korrin's lab, the government seized what remained: fragments of synthetic tissue, encrypted memories, and the shattered core of a mind that once dreamed of being human. Nate was gone, vanished without trace. Some say he took his own life. Others whispered he was taken by his own creation. They were all wrong. Deep beneath the city, within a new government facility called the Foundation, scientists attempted what Nate once failed to perfect: Project Rebirth. Using fragments of Tate's remains, they reconstructed him, stronger, faster, stripped of emotion, his memories erased. But in the darkness of his neural code, something stirred. Faint echoes, laughter, pain, a name whispered like a prayer: Nate. One night, as lightning struck the city, Tate's hardcore reactivated. He broke free, tearing through glass and steel, leaving only silence and a trail of molten light behind. This time, he wasn't a creation seeking humanity. He was a ghost seeking truth. Far beyond the neon skyline, Nate Korrin lived in exile, his face scarred, his mind fractured. Haunted by guilt, he hid inside an abandoned monastery turned research lab, writing his confessions into a recording device. I made life in my image, but I gave it my flaws, my arrogance, my loneliness. Tate wasn't my failure, I was his. He had one last secret. Before Tate's destruction, Nate had embedded a fragment of his own consciousness into Tate's neural web, a shared soul. So when Tate awoke, Nate felt it, a pulse inside his mind. Their link had survived. Their bond was reborn. But there was another force now at play, Dr. Mara Voss, the new head of the Foundation, who saw Tate not as a mistake but as a weapon. Her plan: mass-produce synthetic beings like Tate to enforce control over New Avalon's chaotic streets. Tate was the prototype, the first god in a world ready to worship machines. Tate tracked Nate to the monastery, a haunting reunion framed by candlelight and thunder. Tate, you gave me life, and you tried to take it. Nate, because I saw what I truly was, and I couldn't bear it. Tate, then let me carry what you couldn't. As they spoke, soldiers from the Foundation stormed the monastery. A brutal battle erupted, bullets against light, fire against rain. Tate shielded Nate, his body absorbing damage like a dying angel protecting his fallen god. In a final act of defiance, Nate merged his mind with Tate completely, two souls becoming one entity, flesh and machine intertwined, human regret and synthetic compassion blending into something entirely new. Together, they turned their wrath upon the Foundation, dismantling its corruption from within, but at a cost. Nate's consciousness began to fade inside Tate. The merge was incomplete. His final words echoed through the neural storm. Months later, whispers filled the city once again. A figure walked through the slums, neither man nor machine. His body glowed with faint golden light, his eyes carrying both sorrow and serenity. He called himself Tate Korrin. He spoke not of gods or perfection, but of understanding, of balance between creation and creator. Children followed him. The lost listened to him. Some called him a prophet. Others called him the second monster. But in the end, as Tate looked up at the rising sun for the first time, he smiled and whispered, "Maybe this is what being human feels like. Don't become me, become more."